Welcome to Safari Catch Up, a daily wrap of the best wildlife sightings over the last 24 hours.
Here we've got some rhinos at least moving into a bit of an open area. Such impressive animals. If you've ever seen a rhino run, it's quite something. They can also turn around almost 180 degrees without deviating from the point, almost on a penny, one would say. Andy, you reckon the horn's a pain for Mom? You mean her horn or the youngster's horn? Because they don't have much of a horn until they're weaned. And then the horn develops. Through the early stages, there's no real development on the face. And she loves her babies, so she's willing to deal with a little bit, but obviously the horn on a baby doesn't serve any purpose initially. It grows slowly over time.
Well, these hyenas are unfortunately feeding on a fetus of a zebra. So shame. Unfortunately, during times of stress, or if any of the environmental conditions are not favorable, antelope or herbivores like this can abort their young, and it's probably in the best interest to protect themselves as well. So you don't want to have this, unfortunately, a little bit of a sad scene here, but it does make a good meal for these hyenas, and there are more hyenas than I can possibly count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 or 7 just in front of us, a few lying just off to the right, a few just off to the left, but there's probably at least 10 or 15 hyena around here. There's quite a small little fluffy one just on the left there, very cute.
We usually see these birds in the Mara, but it's very rare to see them. And these are what we call the African jacana. Sometimes they have been nicknamed to be called Jesus bird because they can comfortably not walk on the water, but almost literally walking on the water over the lilies because they've got very huge claws. I've been here in this particular water point a few times, but this is the very first time I am seeing them here. And I think the rains must have brought them around. Both of them will be feeding in the water, catching anything that will be in it, any invertebrate, very quickly running, catching insects or anything that disturb. They're always mobile. And anything that will be moving in there, they'll be able to catch it for themselves.
Lovely to see this herd. We've seen it a couple of times, and last week we saw this herd with a couple of really little ones, but of different ages. There's one on the far left of this group that looks like a mini version of them. There's a baby rooi hartebeest as well. And possible why we're not seeing the other two is that after giving birth, females will hide their calves for up to 6 weeks before rejoining the herd. The gemsbok is known to be an incredibly aggressive antelope if cornered or protecting its youngster. Compared to imbalance in antelope numbers, where are we in the world? What reserve are we in? When you're in smaller reserves, then animal numbers have to be managed. They either get sold through game capture, or that property has a culling process. Every property's got their own objectives and their own management protocols. But in areas that are confined, then management of animal species needs to happen, so as not to degrade the environment. It's the same as people who farm cattle. You know, the cattle get harvested regularly, and that's how those people make their income.
Alright, so this is a beautiful, beautiful flower here. And this is now a black stick lily, also known as the baboon tail. And why they call it a baboon tail? Because it looks like this, looks like the baboon's tail. And that's why they call it a baboon's tail, but a black stick lily. So back in the days, the bushmen used to use this to carry fires around. Why and how? Well, because it's got so many layers on this thing, there's plenty of layers, one layer after the next layer after the next layer. And what they used to do, the bushmen used to make a fire, and then once they finish cooking and all that, instead of, they don't have lighters and matches and all that, they'll cut a piece of this plant, and then they'll kind of make it hollow on the inside, a little bit hollow in the inside, and then they'll take the little ambers that's left over from their previous fire. They'll take the ambers, they'll put the ambers inside of the baboon tail out onto the stick itself or inside, and then they'll take that with them. Now, because it burns very slowly from inside out, eventually maybe 4, 5, 6 hours later, you'll find that they'll all of a sudden they'll take that baboon tail, they'll empty all the little ambers out again and blow and create a whole new fire again. And that's one way that they use to carry fires, is by using this thing called a black stick lily, also known as a baboon tail. But it is absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. I think it is the blister beetle that pollinates them.
So we've caught up with our elephants. You can see this man's got himself a piercing. It's a perfect hole, not like a rip where there's a gap to the edge of the ear. Sometimes these things can happen as small elephants, and as they grow bigger, their ears get bigger, the hole gets bigger. Is it a him? No, I think this is a female. My goodness, girl. Trying to get to the grass that's underneath that branch. We call these elephant pantries. I don't know if that branch was put there on purpose, but you can see how nice and green that grass is that's in it. She's like, move it, get off, get off. I wonder how many times a female elephant will disturb a black mamba or a puff adder in long grass like that. Because that's where it is. That's where those snakes tend to hang out. In the long grass, underneath these branches, where they can't be bothered, or where they think they can't be bothered. Little do they know, an elephant can bother them there.
Sometimes it's always nice, I always believe, just sit at the dams like this, enjoy the views, enjoy what's going to come down. You never know, you might get surprised by something. Oh, there he is. Oh, hey, fantastic. Hello, mister. I'm waiting, I thought you weren't going to reappear for us. Coming up, coming for a drink. Oh, that's interesting. This is going to be nice to see. Many times they'll horn the mud. Actually, a bit of protection for their horns. The kudus do the same. So when it gets like the muddy areas, they'll kind of try and cake their horn with a bit of mud Almost like it's a protection for their horn and maybe to strengthen their horns as well. Oh, it's a beautiful scene.
So we are still doing some birding, trying to get our big birding list up for the day, and we found a lilac-breasted roller. Ooh, I wonder if he's nesting in that dead tree. Because the rollers generally nest in holes in dead old trees, right? I think
Didn't pick much of a feed there. Could be still collecting some cushions.
nest building material.
Nesting materials to cushion its nests. There is a subspecies of lilac-breasted roller that we have in Kenya, which is mostly restricted to the southeast part of the country. That's called a lilac-throated, rather.
What?
Yeah.
Is it an official subspecies?
It's considered as a subspecies, but perhaps in the near future, I would be surprised if it will be a separate species.
Okay.
Oh, more digging. As if the hole couldn't get deep enough as it is. This is how small pans are started. It's going to fill up with water. It's going to be a dam. The warthog's going to find it. Oh, they're going to start mud wallowing. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Before you know it, we're going to have an Ndlovu pan here. Doesn't look like there's much to dig for in there though.
Of the 4 females of the marsh pride, one woke up, walked, and then went jumping in the marsh 1, 2, 3, 4, and she landed there. She might be leaving the carcass and maybe on her way here because the other 3 females are behind us. She'll come, get an area full of water, jump, and then come join the 3 members. Look at her, black mouth. This reminds me sometimes back, I had the paradise pride lions that were feeding, incidentally or coincidentally, on a hippo, and I called them black-faced lions. We have another black-faced lion here from the marsh pride. See how majestic she's coming through the reeds. See the mouth, all black. A bit of a pose there, finding out if her colleagues in the same place. Hope you had a growl back. Didn't see what happened there, but you just had a bit of a growl between the 3. And she's walking majestically. And possibly she is going to join the other 3. See the black mouth. She got a big belly now, having fed. And I thought, I look for some other, oops, that must possibly have been a grasshopper. It was like a small frog, you think, eh? Yeah, and I look for some other carnivores. Not sure to call them 100% carnivores, but ground hornbills. These are the southern ground hornbills. And that to me looks like the female. There's a bit of purplish or violet color under the beak, or the base of the beak, on the wattle. The males have bright red. They don't have the violet or purple in color. One big difference between the males and the females. Pretty monogamous birds, unless when they have chicks, and they could be feeding on small frogs. I think Masai's right, they're feeding on frogs, eh? They're going to finish all the frogs in the marsh area. Currently, a bit of concern on these birds. We are suffering from a lot of loss of habitat. We got very many people who are doing logging, and I think the one just dropped something. That's the female, and they're suffering loss of habitat, as I said. Logging has been a concern, and they've been known to use big trees to nest.
We've got a beautiful red-crested Quran. It wants to sing for us now. Let's listen. Got some vocals there, this male red-crested Quran. And sometimes I'm just sitting here, I'm just wondering, I'm hoping that after singing like that, sometimes what they'll do, these males, they'll fly up straight up into the air, and then they'll kind of tuck their wings in, and then they'll drop like a stone, and just before they hit the ground, they'll open their wings. And it pretty much kind of, it's a display for females. Apparently they say, I'm not too sure how true this is, but apparently they say the closer the male gets to the ground before he opens the wings, the more impressive it is to a female. You know, I'm not too sure on that one, but that's what I've heard.
Now I'm still sitting with my baboons. They have really entertained me so much. Now, this particular baboon here, not sure what she is doing, and I got a feeling it could be a she, trying to get, the parasites out of her foot, but it seems, or rather her hand, it seems like it is not very good, because once in a while you see her putting it in the mouth for so long, and either it's hurting, or it could be sprained, or it has a small little wound. She definitely got something there to eat, but it seems like she's putting that hand in the mouth for so long, that food for so long. Look what she's doing there. She's definitely looking for the parasites, but she's very slow, very particular, and then she'll put it down, don't end up getting anything, goes to another area, either get a tick, or whatever could be itchy on her body. But I think naturally they will always harbor these parasites, on their bodies. And not that it gets itchy on them, but they will know once they start looking for them, they will get them.
We've got some young boys being ridiculous over here. The rest of the herd is coming out into the open. But these two boys are being quite silly. Here comes the granny, maybe to lay down some law, or maybe she's just feeding. Two young boys, quite evenly matched. Pushing and shoving, as boys do. Pizza with elephants, you'll know if it's serious. Youngsters do a lot of playing. Adult males will push each other around a bit, but when they fight, you can hear it. They smash the trees, they smash the vegetation. It is fierce.
The second Ellie has joined here, a slightly bigger one. That's him there, and he has pushed the original boy off. Look what he's doing here. Enjoying that root. Rather big root. It could have been him that pushed his tree over and then decided, I'm not going to eat on it, I'll feed on it later. And then the smaller boy maybe capitalized on it and thought maybe, I might just steal this. TT, I think just because there's a lot that they walk through quite thick thicket, and I think they need to obviously protect their eyes. So when they walk through something and a stick touches their eyelash, they know to close their eyes. The eyelids are pretty thick as well, protecting them from thorns and all sorts of others. So it's I think it's just a protection sort of thing. I don't know why their ears are so hairy, or the inside of the ear. I think that might be just because of maybe dust as well. Try and keep as much dust and mud out of the inside of the ear.
Some hartebeest and zebra feeding the delicious grasses. There definitely is some serious cloud looming towards the east. There is rain predicted this evening into tomorrow morning. Janelle, they are quite selective. They're looking for the juicy bits. The zebras will help to cut it down, and then the hartebeest will eat on the shorter grasses. Very selective feeding. So they're looking for the roughage. They're not looking for the long bits. They're looking for the shorter green shoots. It can be a little bit longer too, but they don't feed on long, dry grasses.
So this is one of the big male lions that we've been waiting and trying to find this afternoon, and the cubs came to give him a nice welcome while we were sitting with the lionesses and the cubs just under that fig tree. Dominic thought he saw something coming down the ridge here into the river, and we've just been watching the elephants. We were just about to make our way, start heading back to camp, and then we turned around and there one of the male lions is. So I know we've got some of our viewers asking if this could be the Soapers boys. It's definitely not the Soapers boys. These are the Sand River.
This will be the Tanzanian new males in the region. They are not the Sopa boys, as some of the viewers are asking. I've also received a message from one of the viewers that she's thinking that this could be the Sopa boys. This is regular and the boys are happy. And the third male just popped up. If you could show the third male that just popped up. But the Sopa boys are not also far from here. The last time I saw them were not far from where we are. But look at that.
What a
The
show.
3 musketeers. So we are waiting, maybe the fourth one might pop up, which could be the perfect send-off for the day.
Now we have come a little closer to our carcass. From the other side of the marsh, it was too smelly. It was very, very strong smell. And a few minutes ago, we had one lioness feeding on this carcass. Then she left. Hyenas then came in. And every 1 minute or few seconds, you're going to see some bubbles of water in the air being blown up. You see that? They're getting very uncomfortable to feed in the water, but at the same time they want to eat. So either the water is getting into their eyes, into their ears, they need to shake it off, Apart from the mud wallow, hyenas don't love water that much. They always try and avoid water as much as they can, unless they have to. You can still see the redness of this hippo. So my guess is it's either last night that he died, thinking it was a male because he was alone. Could be as well as an old female, but we know females to be living in big herds, big ponds.
Thank you, Kerri. And as you can see, Kuchava's now gone nicely on top of a turnout mound for us. And got this nice vantage point, looking around once again. She's definitely looking for something to hunt. So maybe like there's loads of steenbok inside of these blocks, duikers, and some impalas all around. And now if she does make a kill, it's going to be very interesting to see if she's going to go back to go and get her two youngsters. And especially that they are at the age of about a year and 7 years and 8 months now. So it's going to be very interesting to see what she does, if that does happen. Oh, but she's beautiful, eh? She is really giving us a perfect pose this afternoon.
Well, we got some buffalo, everybody. I was talking before about selective feeding in the largeness of an animal's mouth. Now, if you're able to use your tongue or prehensile lips or a trunk, it can make you a lot more selective. Buffaloes use their tongue to grab the grass and rip it up against the top palate. They've got teeth on the bottom, lower jaw in the front, but there's no teeth on the top. As far as I'm aware, no ruminants have got teeth on the top. The sexual dimorphism between male and female buffalo is the size. The boss on the front of the head. The males have got that sort of helmet-like structure. The females have got much less of a structure, more of just fur on the top. They still have horns. There we go, you can see it. He's not at all shy. He's coming as close as he wants to come. Be quiet and allow you to hear him ripping the grass with his tongue.
Oof. Yo, Richmond, Richmond, she'll go far out. I mean, remember when she mated with Mulwati, she was in Tlalamba's territory at that time. It was up there at Juma Dam, or Gari Dam. She mated with Mulwati around there. So females will go far out. I've seen females go like kind of almost from their territory. Sorry, I just ate a fly. Ew. I think I swallowed it. Oh well. It's alright, Paul. Oh, sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, that fly caught me by surprise. Anyway, well, tasted all right. All right, anyway.
That's it for this episode of Safari Catch Up. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on Safari.